Hi, and welcome to Metal for Life. This is a brand new show we're launching here at Heavy Metal Networks. It's kind of a spin-off of the old show, and we're going to expand and grow, and we're really glad that you're here. So let's get right into this. All right, and welcome back to the show. My name is Ant. I am your host here, along with my
co-host Mop. What's up, everybody?
Yes, we are here to entertain you with some metal. That
Best
is
we
correct.
can, metal.
So the whole point of this show is the Metal for Life show. And what that means for us, we figured we'd break this show in with a little discussion about what Metal for Life really means. For me, I started out pretty young. I think I was about 12 when I first found Slayer. I got this mixtape. I think it was a Metal Blades mixtape or some shit. It was awesome. There was Anthrax, Megadeth, and Slayer.
All those
Exodus.
Important, iconic thrash bands from back in the day. You can't go wrong.
Correct, and that was like my entry level into metal. And like most people, I was going through tough times as a kid, divorce, bullshit, bullies, looking for self-identity, and I discovered metal, and it sucked me right in, and I identified, and because it's for outcasts, and I felt like an outcast, and it gave me a group of people to unify with and to identify with. So I gravitated into metal, and here I am. Don't really want to get into ages, but several decades later, and still long hair, metal shirts. I absolutely love it.
Well, I think for me, it kind of started very similar. I think what did it for me, what really got me on my path to listening to metal music and wanting to play metal music. I said it before, and that was got a very young age, and it was the Motley Crue Shout the Devil album for me. I remember watching the video for Looks That Kill, I guess what was MTV back then. Just remember my jaw hitting the floor, watching Tommy Lee beat the holy hell out of his drums. I was like, that's what I want to do. And obviously, I started listening to Motley Crue, and from there it was like a springboard onto other bands like, Anthrax, Megadeth, Testament, Slayer, friggin' all that early thrash shit, that's really what did it for me.
And you held on to Slayer for a while, right?
Oh, man, Slayer's still one of my favorite bands today. I got a Slayer tattoo on my damn arm. I have, Slayer's my go-to.
So you're pretty much a lifelong dedicated Slayer
fan since I can remember, man. I've always listened to Slayer.
How many times do you think you've seen Slayer live?
Oh, God. I've seen the original lineup no less than 3 times. I've seen Slayer with Paul Bostaff probably no less than 4 times. I've seen him twice with Gary Holt. So yeah, I've been to quite a few Slayer shows.
Him with Gary, huh? How was that?
With who?
With Gary. You got
Gary
to see
Holt
him?
was a monster, man. That dude was shredding, man. That guy's a great player. I thought, personally, I think he was a pretty good fit for Slayer.
Yeah, I've seen him live a few times with him in the band, but I haven't got to personally catch him live yet with him.
Like I said, I was impressed, man. He was right there with Kerry King, keeping up note for note. Played everything exactly the way it should have been played. And like I said, I thought Gary Holt was an excellent fit for Slayer when they brought him in.
So you're gonna go catch Slayer on their reunion tour?
Yeah. Like I said, as long as Slayer's still gonna be on the stage, I'll still go watch them play. I don't give a shit if they're fucking in their 80s. As long as they're still playing my favorite songs and doing what they do, I'm gonna go see them. I don't care.
Now, when it comes to a metal lifestyle, does that also still today play into the way that you dress?
Very much so. I still wear the t-shirts of all my favorite bands. I still wear my hair long. I'm tattooed. Not that having tattoos means you're metal, but it kind of goes hand in hand with that genre of music.
Generally does.
So yeah, absolutely. Metal influences my life every day. Every day.
Yeah, I still wear a bunch of my metal t-shirts, and I definitely wear them when I come down here to the studio. For me, I like to look at it kind of like this still. At my age, it helps me keep people out of my circle that don't need to be here. Because if somebody sees me with a metal shirt and long hair and they're judging me, and they're instantly drug user or thief,
you get put in that stereotype
yeah,
quite often.
So if you're stereotyping me by the way that I dress, and guess what, you're not going to talk to me, and you're going to probably be scared of me. and
that
social
really,
distancing.
stuff like that doesn't bother me at all. The more people that stay away from me because of the way I look, probably the better, because I don't want those people around me anyway.
Yeah, it actually doesn't bother me even one bit. It's part of my defense mechanism to keep those double two-faced shitholes out of my circle.
Out of my face.
Yes, sir. It's probably one of the best ways, at least I've noticed. I kind of even joked about it during my my first COVID joke video about dressing metal, because that'll help keep people away from you.
The tip is, if you wear your most sinister metal shirts out in public, it's going to keep everybody at least 10 feet away from you. It's the best way to avoid the coronavirus.
Somehow when you're metal, they're afraid that the Satan aura may spill onto them if they get too close. Meanwhile, their kids telling them, "Mommy, look, it's Jesus."
Yeah.
I do get that one.
You know, that's what gets me the most, is all the hypocrisy that goes along with, you know, metalheads and the way they dress, the way they look. It's ridiculous. If you ever actually took the time to even talk to anybody like that, they're pretty down to earth, they're pretty intelligent, and they're pretty well informed about most things. You know, and it's just, you know, people just, like I said, you get put into the stereotype, and I'm like, fuck it, you want to stereotype me? I'll be everything you think I am, and more.
People like me and you, we're kind of fortunate. We were around when Dad Rock started, as they call it. Yeah, it's Dad Rock these days. But anyways, we've gone from Pantera, and we're still here for Job for a Cowboy, and we're still here for Shadow of Intent. We've seen bands come and go throughout the decades, and we've got to watch the metal scene change. We've got to watch the metal scene die. We've got to watch the metal scene return. We have seen a lot of things in the many decades that we've been involved with the metal scene, and I gotta say, I'm still impressed by bands today. The kids, they seem to be getting younger and more talented and more extreme.
With some of the talent that's out there, and being as young as they are, it's like, how the hell? Because it wasn't like that back in my day. I mean, yeah, there were a lot of great musicians, but they weren't pulling off the shit that these kids are doing today by any stretch of the imagination.
Now, I wonder if that's has any attribute to the fact that things like YouTube exist now.
I think so.
And these kids have access
we didn't have
to
that back in the day. There was no such thing as
and-
internet back when we were coming up.
Yeah, I mean, even just today, I was watching the live cast of Max Cavalera with his Max Riffs, where he shows you riff by riff how he's playing, you know, really popular Soulfly songs. You know, I could have easily have learned Bleed today just by going through and watching his video. And my God, I grew up idolizing Sepultura and Max Cavalera, like he was my idol. And to have something like that right at my fingertips now, where I can sit down one-on-one with Max Cavalera,
have him break down everything, every note for note, and say, this is how I do it.
It's amazing.
This is how I did it in the studio, but this is how I do it live. It's a little different.
Yeah.
Or whatever, you know, whatever
it's
the
great.
breakdown is.
The way I had to do it, I had to go and order, because none of the record stores carried the Sepultura tablature books, because I could only read tablature. And if I wanted to learn Sepultura, I either had to try to figure it out by ear the best I could, or I had to order the book and then get the book and do my best to figure that shit out.
You know, and that was a pain in the ass for someone like me who can't read tablature.
Drum tablature's a bitch. I've got a couple books.
Especially drum tablature. I mean, good God, man. Everything, you know, I had to learn everything by ear, man. I sat in my garage with big-ass freaking headphones and the cassette tape, rewind, play, and listen to the drum patterns and try to emulate and copy what was going on that I heard. And that's how I learned a lot of songs back in the day. There was, like I said, there was no internet, and if you wanted to learn something, you either had to buy the tablature or learn it by ear, and that's how I learned a lot of stuff. I mean, it is a lot easier for young musicians today to be able to pick stuff up and learn how to do it.
Definitely.
Especially with you know, the ever-changing progression of gear that's out there today. I mean,
oh yeah,
that helps too. I mean, shit.
Yeah, the gear availability definitely opened doors. Now any garage band can put out a nice album. You know, like, there's no need for a label anymore. So, do you see yourself listening to metal until the day you die?
Oh, of course. Every night I go home, I set aside no less than 2 hours where I just put on my headphones. I got this section on my YouTube page called BMF. That's my bad motherfucker section. It's got every song that, I mean, is the most adrenalizing, pumped up version of metal songs that I could possibly find that I'm into. And it's a playlist. There's probably a couple hundred songs on it, man. I'll hit play, go through every freaking one, damn near every one of them. And I'll sit and just chill for a couple hours every night, just listening to metal, having a drink. And that's how I unwind. So yeah, I'll definitely be listening to metal music and playing metal music until I physically cannot do it anymore.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, I'm pretty diverse. I listen to a pretty wide range of music, but metal and deathcore seems to always be my go-to. I'm a big deathcore fan these days. Not the standard deathcore, you know. I do like a little bit of originality to it, but I like the death metal mixed with the really slow breakdowns. It just turns me the hell on, man. So usually for me today, I'm riding around in the car is mostly where I do my metal listening. I usually load up something like Spotify because they really pay their artists shitty. So I figured I would go ahead and support them and, you know, play the fuck out of everything I can on there. So at least they get a little bit of something on there. And maybe some change will happen, you never know. We've talked about Spotify before and how they like to rip people off, one of the lowest paying entities out there. But you know, that's a discussion for another day. Anyhow, we're going to break off into a commercial break. We hope you guys stick around, and we'll see you shortly right after these messages.
Peace.
Alright, so today on the show we have Brad Wallace. He is the owner and founder of Florida Metal Radio. This is a great new podcast that's out of Brevard County, Florida, and as you know, we love to support our locals. So, hello, Brad. It's great to have you in the studio. How are you today?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, man?
So, a few questions for you,
Sure,
Brad.
shoot.
When did you get your start in the Florida metal scene?
To be completely transparent, bro, I didn't even realize there was a scene until like 1997 whenever I started my first band. It was funny because we called it Head Rush, then it turned into Harsh, and then it turned into Filth Tree after I left. So, yeah, dude, 1997 I would have to say is whenever I first got my foot into the local Florida metal scene.
Why did you start Florida Metal Radio?
It's funny, man, because, you know, I tried to start a podcast once before. It was 321 Screw, and it was I would say it was a flop. I mean, it was a failure, not so much in the sense of the content and everything, but so much that it was just not a lot of people were really grasping wanting that kind of a podcast. So, I mean, it's one of those narrow niches that you just don't do.
You have a full schedule booked. Who are you looking forward to the most this year?
That'd be like asking if I had a favorite kid, dude. I mean, if I had to pick one, I've been a fan of hers for so long, but, you know, we've got Mechanism coming up, well, Mecha Kyoto, that's going to be on the show. But we've got so many other awesome bands. I mean, we've got Blood of Angels coming up Thursday. Then we've got a bunch of other bands that are going to be on pretty much the entire year, every Thursday.
So what was the last concert you attended?
I'm going to say January 3rd of this year. I attended the House of Blues CD release party of the Balance for Breathing Theory. Yeah, there was a couple other bands there, but, you know, I go out there and support, you know, Colin and Corey and Rob and Keegan and you know, everybody else and Joey. But yeah, I mean, this has just been a weird year. It would have been a lot different if this pandemic hadn't started. Shit, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I would have been going to ministry with KMFDM July 21st. That would have been my last show. So, yeah. that got canceled.
So did you notice an increase in the production at Florida Metal Radio and all the projects that you had to do during this COVID? We were discussing this earlier in the show, how a lot of bands may be putting out a lot of albums. Did you guys get things done over there?
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, speaking of the pandemic, how has it affected us? In all honesty, man, our intent at the beginning was to do just live interviews with audio recordings. We've kind of morphed into more video because what we wanted to do initially is we wanted to do more live interviews, like at shows. We wanted to attend more shows and interview the band either before or after the show, or like show up during sound check or something to that effect. We just so since most of the shows have been shut down or canceled, I mean, it's just been really hard for us to even get out and do stuff like that. Yeah, we did notice more bands who are working on like one song at a time. I'm guessing that's the way that the industry is trending, instead of doing like full albums. So yeah, I mean, we've noticed big change, in a lot of the interactions that we've had with bands and stuff like that.
Who is a few of your local current favorites?
Oh man, going back to the who's my favorite kid again. So who are a few of my local favorites? Oh dude, I mean, take your pick. I got so many great bands just in Central Florida, not including like North Florida and South Florida and West, over in the Tampa area, Southwest over in the Fort Myers area. We've got stuff up in the Panhandle that's freaking amazing as well. But if I had to put my finger on a couple of them, man, I'm a huge fan of like the really, really heavy, blister your face off stuff. So Valley Ritual is one of my favorites. Atlas is another amazing band. Blitzkrieg Season, which is a new band out of Melbourne, Florida. I didn't even realize these guys were around. They haven't even played they've played one show live, and they haven't done anything else because of this pandemic. But Withering Earth, we've got another upstart band. You guys are I guess managing with Enemedia. I mean, they're pretty friggin' badass too. So dude, there's so many different bands that we could choose from, but everybody's got their merits and their good stuff, man.
You got any album recommendations for the fans out there?
Oddly enough, I'm gonna go ahead and reach back and a couple shows ago, and I'm going to say that there's this band called Out of Darkness. They're pushing really, really hard, which I commend them wholeheartedly, because the lead singer and the drummer, they were on the show. The lead singer, he hasn't really. I think that this is like his first very large band that he's been in, that he's been able to capitalize on. But what makes this not so much unique, but what makes this band even more, that we need to listen to, is the fact that Brent Smedley, the drummer, came from the band Iced Earth, which, I mean, anybody that knows anything about metal, I mean, Iced Earth was, I mean, they toured all of Europe and everything. So yeah, definitely, look out for Out of Darkness. Seize the Day is the name of the album. Their first track is Control, so yeah, definitely check those guys out for sure.
So our topic for tonight was about being metal for life, and I know that you've been into metal for almost your entire life as well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what metal means to you and what it is to be metal for life?
Yeah, dude. I got my start early on. I'm gonna say I was probably, I don't know, 12, 14 years old, somewhere around there is whenever I first started getting into metal. I mean, I had seen metal before, and I mean, back then, something that was hard to me, like AC/DC, it looks kind of like, fluff today. But what Metal for Life means to me, it basically it's an all-inclusive family of diversity that sews us all together. It's basically, we can drop all the labels, Republican, Democrat, white, black, whatever divides us on social media brings us together with metal. I mean, if you're into metal and you're into, like, whatever genre you're in, metal is the last name, and the genres are like your Billies and Mandy's and Susie and stuff like that. So, I mean, we all come together whenever it's metal, and I think Chad Gray from Hell Yeah said it best, is when we all come together, we are a family, and all the labels we give ourselves just fade away. So, that's whenever I knew I was Metal for Life, is whenever I was in the crowd. Everybody's, beating each other up in the pit and picking each other up, dusting each other off, and just, we hug each other afterwards, good time, and we wind up making friends that way, even though that we're beating the stuff out of each other, we're still good friends.
All right, Brad, it was great having you here tonight. Why don't you tell all the fans where they can find you at, and all the great info about Florida Metal Radio. Tell them about a couple of the bands you got coming up. Let's promote you here, man. Oh,
well, yeah, thanks, man. So basically, I mean, you can find us, that's over there. You see the FloridaMetalRadio.com. You can find us there. You can find us pretty much on Facebook, facebook.com/Florida Metalheads. You can find us on YouTube. Just search for Florida Metal Radio. We pop right up. You can also go directly to our website, which you can watch the videos there too. So if you don't like doing social media, just go to our website and, got some great material in there. We've got, band directories, everybody that I just, touched bases on. We've got resources areas, so if you're having issues with, rent or not being able to put food on your plates, stuff like that, we've got resources that are on that website. But we've also got our event schedule up, so if you want to see all the great bands that we've got coming up and you want to know what date is your favorite band, by all means, go there, check out the events page, and check us out. We're usually on Thursdays from 9 to 10. That's Eastern Standard Time. And I mean, we do live shows, so it's we'll be on there with the band, and if we trip up, we trip up. We drop a couple F-bombs, a couple S-bombs, and go from there. All right, thanks again for having us. Later.
Check my mail. I got something in the mail today. I'd like to open it up and share it with you all, see what we got. I don't know. Let's see what it is. And I already knew what it was. Our very own enemedia face mask. Yes, you heard me right. Enemedia face mask, so we can go walk around with all the other sheep and not get in trouble when we try to go fucking grocery shopping. Here we are.
Hello, welcome back to the Metal for Life show. As you know, this is a brand new show and we've got some great stuff coming up here. So we're going to talk about some topics in the news, some things that are relevant to today's situation, and we're going to kind of give you our opinion on that, whether you like it or fucking not. Great thing is going on right now. I hate politics. Politics fucking suck, but we've got a couple representatives out there, one Republican, one Democrat, go figure, actually working together to put forth something called the Restart Act. It's found under S.3814. If you are interested in this, I definitely say that you should look this up. You can look up hashtag Save Our Stages to get more information or to post your support. It's from the National Independent Venue Association. It's a group of venues and promoters and people that got together basically to try to make changes with Congress, because this virus is whooping our venues and our music and our entertainment.
Killing the music scene. It's running it right into the ground. So we need to do whatever we can to get bands back up on stage, and this is, I think, a good start.
Yeah, because everybody keeps saying, 2021 comes, we're going to be back on tour, but guess what? There ain't going to be a goddamn venue that's open anymore.
Nope.
All right, all the little mom and pops and little independently owned venues are going to be gone.
Why? Because they all went bankrupt.
Yes, they're closing their doors already. I've already seen several venues in our state of Florida that will not be reopening because this virus has crippled them. Some people just barely get by to do what they love, which is run this venue and still maintain a home life. So when you got no income and the rent's still due, so it's very important that this Save the Stages Act passes through. And
I really hope it does.
It's going to give a lot of benefits to cover these venues and keep them alive, and that's what we're going to need in this music scene. So I really urge all of our fans and everybody that watches this video to go out and look this up. It's real easy to go to the website. You can find it by the hashtag Save Our Stages, or I think it's saveourstages.org, and you can sign the petition and make your voice heard, and every number counts. We really need you to get out there.
So
We've got a couple venues right here. You can look up the Verona, which is in Newport Richey, Tampa area. I know they were running a couple GoFundMes for a while, and if you live in the Florida area and especially the Tampa area, it's one of the best venues out there, and I urge you to get out there, and if you got the extra money, put it into their GoFundMe, because unless this government shit goes through, his venue is going to close. And I would hate to see that. He just got it going. It looks very promising. It's one of the best venues because the guy that runs it, he's been around and he's been a musician, and now he's running a venue, and there's nothing better than a musician run venue. Because they treat their bands right and they treat their fans right, and that's what's important. So I urge anybody that's in our area of Florida to go out there and help him out, support him on the nights he's open. And in your area, if you're not in Florida, please look into your local venues. I'm sure they're all running some kind of t-shirts or aids that you can contribute to help keep your venues alive. Because if they were open, we'd be going out there and spending money at these bars, and we'd be buying tickets to the shows. So if you can afford it, please help them out. They have nothing, and they're falling apart. So speaking of COVID, we've got a couple bands that are currently promising albums and writing during the COVID. So Anthrax is apparently currently writing their new album via Zoom and FaceTime.
Yep. Oh, I can't say that. One good thing that's going to come out of all this virus shit is all the great music that's going to be coming out soon. We got a bunch of bands that are writing and recording and putting out new shit right now as we speak. Like Ant just said, Anthrax is in the middle of recording something new. Metallica is even writing new material as we speak.
Are they?
Yes, they are. And
so James is out of rehab?
James, well, he went back in 2019, so he's been out for a minute.
Oh, okay.
So
they are currently Metallica.
They are currently writing, and from what I hear, it's supposed to be one of their best thrash albums that they put out since, the Master of Puppets era. But of course, you know, I've heard that on every release that they put out.
Well, you know, honestly, I gotta say, the last album that they put out, there was a couple tracks on there that were pretty damn close. Like,
well,
I really felt
with that
that.
formula because I'd like to see them put out a pretty.
But I really
kick-ass
did
frickin',
feel that like Justice Puppets vibe off a couple tracks
Right.
on there. I was quite impressed. I don't even remember the last album's name, but I was honestly.
I think it was Hardwired, wasn't it? I can't remember.
I told you I'm real bad on my Metallica. They blew it for me years ago, and I kept giving them chance after chance, and it just every time they blew it. So I kind of I gotta be honest.
Also got wind that Megadeth is currently writing a new album.
I did hear that.
Obituary, one of my all-time favorite frickin' death metal bands.
Now we know Obituary,
We do
so
know Obituary.
we're gonna reach out to those guys, and hopefully we can grab up an interview for this show.
That would be awesome.
Never know. Maybe if you guys are watching right now, you guys can give me an email. I do have some venues too to book you guys for February, like you like to do. So.
But their album, I believe, is done. They've released a track. And for the life of me, now that I'm on the spot, I cannot think of the name of the goddamn song, but it is out.
When we figure it out, I will link it down below.
It's relevant. It's up to date. The lyrical content is very relevant to everything that's going on, especially with this police brutality shit. Like I said, I can't wait for all this new stuff because everybody's got nothing to do but write music. They can take their time. There's no pressure on them to put out a bunch of slop because the label wants a fucking album put out right now. So they're gonna take their time. They're gonna write some fucking monster shit. And I can't wait, man. I really can't wait to see what's coming with all this new music that's gonna be put out real soon.
I definitely agree. And with Anthrax, I did check out the interview. It was with Scott Ian, and I forget who the interview was with. It may have been the drummer. Anyhow, they made a specific point of saying they basically worked out all the riffs, but they still got to get into a room together to really work everything out. So as much as it seems like writing through FaceTime and Zoom might be a doable process, to me it still seems like you're gonna have to get together.
You gotta get
eventually.
together with bodies and get into that live setting and really hammer out the songs.
Yeah, I mean that's really how you feel it. It's so much harder to feel it when you're just sitting there working with like a track in your headphone, and you ain't got the guy there to make eye contact with. There's definitely a different vibe when you're working right across from somebody and really trying to feel that riff.
Agreed.
I do know that Anthrax is going to get into a room together before they finalize all this stuff. He did make that point in his discussion that even though they've worked out almost the whole album riff-wise with Zoom and FaceTime, they still need to get together to work out all the changes and arrangements, which I think is really the best way to probably do that type of situation. And at the same time, I've been hearing from quite a few bands that didn't accomplish as much as they kind of figured they would when all this started. I mean, even us here at Heavy Metal Networks kind of haven't done as much as we had kind of foreseen with this shutdown across the world. Like, we thought we'd have so much free time we would just be spilling out the content, but to the contrary,
I'm more busy now than I was before this shit hit.
it sure seems like it. Like, it seems like life is way more busy, and you just don't even want to leave your house half the time. Like, I'm not scared to, but it's just a pain in the ass
Yep.
going to a store. You got to carry your mask around. If you forgot your mask, you can't go in, or people are going to be ridiculing you and pointing their finger at you. How disrespectful! You know, Karens are all over the place wanting to jump on you because you ain't got your mask on. So
Why bother?
I'd rather order from Amazon and have the dude just drop it off at my doorstep, you know, and you can even get your groceries off there. Grubhub, here I come, you know? Fuck the outside world. But, you know, that's honestly no different than I've kind of been living for most of my life anyway. Like, I'm not really social. Go figure. And I'd rather hide at home than go deal with Walmart any
We'll deal
day.
with the fucktards that are out there paranoid and, you know, taking everything way out of context.
Alright, so we're going to break away real quick and we're going to check out this little bit that we put together. It's called Out of Context. You let us know what you think about it, and maybe you got some more coming. Alright, take it away.
Welcome to Out of Context. You have just found the brand new show where I will interview whoever the hell I want. And tonight, we have a very special guest. POTUS himself is here. POTUS! Welcome, Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
So first thing, Stormy Daniels just released a statement claiming that your dick is only 3 inches.
Yeah, if that. All these guys were after me. They spent 45, 49, 55, I hear all different numbers, $1 million.
So are you bi?
So I think a lot of people would say that although we had some very strong conservative Republicans, like Mike Lee, Republicans that wanted it very much, Chuck Grassley, some great, strong conservative Republicans that wanted it very much. So it, it's both ways.
Are you a top or a bottom?
So we're right at the bottom in a positive way, and I think that people are starting to see it.
Okay. Enough on your romantic life. Did you try the special pizza we sent to your room?
Now, Obama didn't try. If he did, he may come out and say we did try, but, he didn't get it done. I got it done.
Have you smoked any weed today?
At some point in the not too distant future, I'm going to do it.
So tell me, what do you think of Corey Taylor?
He's sort of a sick guy. There's something wrong with him. He's a guy who doesn't talk. Nobody hears him. Whenever he does talk, he can't put 2 sentences together. I don't want to be nice or unnice, okay? But, the man can't speak.
It was announced from the White House that you have a metal band. What is its name?
There are so many names to this. I could name 19 names, like Corona 19, but I could name 19 names. But the fact is that there's never been a thing like this.
When will the album be released?
And I think we're going to have an answer very soon indeed. I think it will be even before the end of the year.
How many albums are part of your deal?
I said I'll have 3, and any amount they want. I didn't say I want more. See, if you say you want more, just to show what a tricky business is, I want more. They'll say, oh, he feels he's losing, he wants more. So I don't like to say that. I will do whatever number they want to do.
There's been some bad reviews of the pre-release of your album. What do you think about that?
And we're not going to allow it. So we have many people under arrest, and we have some just from the other night in Washington, but I'm talking about in other states also.
All right, so now, famous actor. What do you think of John Wayne?
He didn't do a good job. He wasn't smart, he wasn't sharp, and he's the only man I think I've ever met. I knew him for 1 year, whatever the time, it was a short time. I don't think I ever saw him smile once. I said to him once, John, do you ever smile?
All right, we want to thank you for joining this brand new episode of Out of Context. This is where we interview whoever the hell we want to, and we're going to ask them all the tough questions. So stay tuned for next episode.
Hello, welcome back to the Metal for Life show. As you know, this is a brand new show, and we've got some great stuff coming up here. So we're going to talk about some topics in the news, some things that are relevant to today's situation, and we're going to kind of give you our opinion on that, whether you like it or fucking not. So did you see that the UK had their first socially distanced venue
I did
open
see
up?
that.
Did you see the photos?
I
from
did see the
this?
photos, and regardless of how dumb you might think it looks or how it sounds, I'm all for it, man. Get these bands back out on stage. Get people going to see these bands. Even if it means putting 5 or 6 of them on a raised platform and spreading them out, whatever you got to do, fucking do it. I'm all for it. I love it. Kudos to the UK for being the leaders and getting everybody back out and socializing and getting these concerts back going again. I'm all for that shit.
Now, interesting fact though, just before we came down here to sit down for this show, I hit up another article I'm going to drop on you that just kind of relates to this. So I read that Germany is doing a test of COVID by having these non-social distancing shows. And
I did see that as well.
Yes, so they're having these shows where people are just gathering right up,
going in and
shoulder
seeing what
to
happens.
shoulder, and I guess they're gonna get some stats on this. So it'd be kind of interesting to see the differences
See,
between.
now another cool thing that I was just told by my wife, of all people, that Metallica is, again, Metallica, They are running out drive-in movie theaters and selling tickets per carload. It's like $150 per car. You stuff as many people as you can in your car. You go into the drive-in and you watch their concert live. I think that's another great idea. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, why not? It does sound like a great idea. And then we've also got bands that are just live streaming themselves, but of course that's nowhere near as fun as an actual show, and it really doesn't make much money. I think it was, I forget who, but some band just recently did a stream, and it was like $9 to watch them. Oh, it's Trivium. So, I mean, there was an opportunity to make a little money. It was like a pay-per-view type live show, and they had somebody opening for them. It was a pretty good death metal band. I forget who they are, but it was kind of a neat idea. But at the same time, there's nothing better than being at a venue by far. The socializing, like when you're sitting in your living room watching Gojira live, it's great and all, but
you know, it's not
there's
only
nobody to mosh pit with.
It's not only the the socializing aspect, but you can't beat live sound from a killer band. And that for me is worth the risk all in itself.
And then on the polar end of the spectrum over here in the United States, leave it to our governor of New York to ban all live events. Any ticketed live event from comedy to metal has been banned. So, what do you think of that? I mean, I know this guy's under a lot of scrutiny for his.
This guy isn't going to last much longer. I'm telling you right now. Yeah, he's got to be one of the most hated governors in New York's history right now, as far as I'm concerned. It's one dumb thing after another with this guy. He's canceled, or he's done away with the unemployment, so there's no more unemployment. He's completely shut that down. Now he's doing this ban on the ticketed events. I mean, Jesus, how long do you think people are actually going to stay in lockdown before they just say fuck it and revolt? Which is where that state's going to.
They already are in a lot of places. Yes, sir.
So, I mean, come on, man. You're just adding fuel to the fire, buddy.
And you gotta love Florida, man. We just down here, we're like, fuck it.
Right.
What the hell is social distancing? We don't know. You go to Walmart and there's a fucking guy breathing down your neck while you're waiting in line, you know.
Exactly. It's like, whatever, man.
And so far, COVID's been what it is.
I just don't see that going over well. I mean, people are just, they need to get together in a group and march on the fucking governor's mansion up there. Do what you gotta do, man. All I can say is to our governor here in Florida, don't New York our Florida.
So, speaking of anthrax.
Good. That was a good lead in.
I caught this article from none other than the hated Corey Taylor. And you will never probably catch us talking about Corey Taylor again on this show, but I thought that this particular article was relevant because it relates to the fact that in 2007, while he was with Slipknot, he had an offer to join Anthrax, and he was stoked. Yeah.
He was way into it.
He was all set to go do this, and the execs at Roadrunner Records...
Like the night before, he was supposed to go into rehearsals to start jamming with Anthrax. He got a call from his label. They're like, "You're not doing that. There's no way. We want another Slipknot album right now."
Yep. And although he could have easily done the Slipknot album and done the Anthrax album, it was about crossing the label lines, which existed for so long before the digital world, as we mentioned before, came in and started erasing all these labels' relevance. So before that happened, labels were in constant competition against each other, and there was such division that you couldn't even collaborate across platform. I mean, honestly, that's just helping both labels out. You're exposing both artists across the board. Like, duh. You work together within the metal community, not against.
And that's a shame, because that would have been a cool collaboration. I think that would have been really, really cool to hear what Corey Taylor and Anthrax could have came up with. Yeah,
it would have been interesting.
Not to mention to hear his style, his vocals on some of their older material. I think it would have been really cool. Kind of more of a hard edge, heavier vocal approach to it. I
Yeah,
think.
it would have been interesting, that's for sure. To see how he approached it. If he tried to go for that Anthrax sound or if he tried to do Corey Taylor.
Right.
Because he does have one hell of a vocal
Yes, he
range.
does.
So it would have been interesting. And this is just to reiterate the fact of something we pointed out previously about you got to watch the deals that you sign with these labels. I mean, it might seem enticing to, if you're a band and here's a label dangling this pretty little contract in front of you, you better go sit down with a lawyer. You better spend the money and sit down with a lawyer if you're going to sign the deal. Me, I'm all for doing it independent, but I can understand if you don't want to worry about that shit and you just want to get on a bus and go play the music that you love to make. So you let the label handle it, but watch what you're signing.
Very closely.
I've
Read
even
the fine
heard
print.
of a few years back, you guys might remember the band All Shall Perish. Their album, oh, I forget the name of the album. Anyhow, there was this one particular album, it may have been the last release I think they even put out, and the album was being bootlegged off uTorrents and torrent sites and shit like that, and a company from Brazil or South America or something launched a lawsuit against 80 people in the United States for downloading this album. The band was against it, the label was against it, but this third-party company somehow owned the rights because they actually funded the label's responsibility to the artist to record the album. So this third party in another country owned the rights to that album. And if it wasn't for the band and the label making such a fuss about them going after the fans, they eventually dropped it, or they would have went after those people. And it was like $125,000 fine per song on a like 8 or 10 song album.
So again, watch what you're signing. Read
Yeah.
it carefully.
Keep your rights. Keep your rights, man. Don't give up your rights to your music or your merchandising, especially because that's where you make your money, even well beyond
Don't
the
be so
band's
quick
existence.
to sign away your soul.
So just, it's Corey Taylor's proof right there. Slipknot was probably anxious for that deal. Roadrunner Records was like dangling
There
it
you
right in their
go.
face. They signed it away. Next thing you know, he's locked to a label. He can't go
Can't do
jam with
anything else about
Anthrax.
Slipknot.
Man, what a disappointment. Have Anthrax making you an offer. I can't imagine it. And then you can't do
Yeah.
it because your label says no. That's like wanting to go to a party and your mom and dad are
See?
like, "Yep."
I actually read that article, and they were hanging out, and someone had said as a joke, "Yeah, man, why don't you join Anthrax? Come jam with us." And they all got a big laugh out of it. Then it kind of turned into a serious discussion, and everybody was into it. Scott Ian was all about it. Corey Taylor was all about it. In fact, they went out to dinner to talk about it more, and they had everything set up, getting ready to go into rehearsals and start hammering out the songs. And like I said, it was like the night before he was supposed to go into rehearsals, his label called and said, "No, you're not doing that." So again, like I said, watch what you're signing.
All right, so again, we want to thank you for joining us for episode 1 of the Metal for Life show. This is going to be a monthly show. It will come out the last Friday of every single month. So click that bell icon down there so you get reminders, and make sure you mark your calendars. Why don't you tell your Google right now, "Hey Google, last Friday of the month, mark it. We're coming back out with a new show. We're going to keep doing these shows monthly at least. We hope to step it up, but for now you're getting one a month because we still got a couple other things to do, and we're recording a band, and it's real busy for me and Mop, and that's what it's like running a label / production company /
All rolled into one.
film freaking every
Production
goddamn
company,
thing
you
we
name
do
it.
here. We like to bite off way more than we can chew because, if you got a big steak, you just want to maul that motherfucker.
That's it.
So
one more thing before we do finally sign off. I have to throw this out there. I'd like to give a shout out to Frankie Benally, drummer for Quiet Riot, another metal icon who just recently passed away from pancreatic cancer. Condolences to the family, and rest in peace, Frankie. That's all I have to say about that.
drummers keep dropping like flies, don't they?
Not funny, dude.
Better watch yourself over there. Better start fucking jogging every day
Something,
and
man.
eating salads.
No, my body doesn't like roughage at all.
You don't eat rabbit food, you eat rabbits.
I love rabbit food though. My body don't like it. But anywho, see you next time, my metalhead friends.
Yes,
Stay
thank you
safe.
for joining us. Make sure you click on over to our Facebook page, and we have a Facebook group where you can leave comments or suggestions. We urge you to check out the hashtag Heavy Metal Networks, where we will be looking for your fan submissions for all the cool shit and ideas or comments you may have. Let us know. Tag us in our merch if you've got some. We got lots of stuff out there. You can also look for hashtag enemedia if you're looking for information about the brand new band that is coming out on our label. It's going to be sick. If you're into
Something to see.
Slipknot and you're into some Soulfly and some Sepultura, I mean, this has that new metal deathcore sound. Like, it's going to really wreck your face. So you got to check it out for sure. If you haven't seen them yet, you can catch a little demo on an upcoming vlog number 31. Yeah, we're at 31.
31, are you sure?
Yes, sir. I just was editing
All
today.
right, I'll let that one slide.
Alrighty, so we're out and we're signing out, and we want to thank you and make sure you stick around for more content.
Peace out, my friends.